On life's hardest days, we often forget the strength that remains alive within us. It is in this forgetfulness that sadness grows, like a shadow trying to erase all the effort, every achievement, and all the resilience you've ever demonstrated. But Stoicism confronts us with a truth that cannot be ignored. No pain is greater than the power of your mind. Sadness isn't an endless prison, it's just a path that can be traversed. Anguish doesn't last forever. It's a state that can transform into clarity. It all begins when you choose to care for what no one can take from you, your inner world. When you learn to remain calm in the midst of confusion, problems don't disappear, but they cease to dominate the stage. They stop ruling your entire life and become just a part of your journey. You weren't born weak. This idea of weakness was created over time, by frustrations, broken promises, and days when everything seemed meaningless. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that the soul is colored by the hues of your thoughts. If you immerse yourself only in the negative, everything around you becomes darker. But when you decide to feed your mind with good things, you create space for balance, hope, and inner strength. And that's what I want to share with you today. 10 simple yet profound Stoic practices to protect your emotional health and prevent sadness from ruling your life. No matter how long you've been carrying this burden, you can take back control and you can start now. Write in the comments, "Today I choose to take care of my mind. I'm Stoic." Before the first lesson, I only ask 2 things of you. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's move on. Lesson 1. Comparison brings you down. Focusing on yourself lifts you up. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get lost in looking too much at other people's lives? So-and-so shows up with a new car. So-and-so already has the body you wanted. That influencer seems to smile every day. And without realizing it, you're no longer living your story, you're just trying to race on a track that was never meant for you. Seneca called this euthymia, the calm of someone who follows their own path without being distracted by worthless things. He said that this state can only be achieved with discipline, clarity, and confidence that we are fulfilling the role life has placed in our hands. Imagine this scene. You're driving down a road full of cars. If you constantly look at the cars on the other side, you'll get confused, change lanes every few minutes, and even risk crashing. But if you keep your eyes firmly on the road ahead, on your destination, you'll arrive safely. The same is true with life. Those who cling to comparisons lose their way. Those who focus on their own path move forward in peace. Marcus Aurelius reinforced this in his Meditations. Don't waste the rest of your life thinking about others when it doesn't serve the common good. By doing so, you abandon the protection of your own soul. It's a harsh truth, but a real one. Every minute spent comparing is a minute stolen from your growth. Think of the time already wasted scrolling through your feed, looking at photos of other people's trips or victories. 10, 20, 30 minutes that could be used to read a page of a book, advance a project, or simply rest your mind. The problem isn't what others achieve, but what you fail to build within yourself. Today's Stoic practice is simple. When you feel comparison creeping in, ask yourself, is what I'm thinking about helping me grow or just getting me off track? If it's a distraction, turn your attention back to your own path. Read a page from a good book. Take a step toward your project. Do something that nourishes your mind or strengthens your body. Comparison is a silent trap. It steals joy, creates anxiety, and leaves you feeling like you're never enough. But when you understand that each person has their own time, their own invisible challenges, and their own path, the weight lifts. You discover lightness and find the strength to stay true to your own pace. Seneca reminded us that true peace lies not in arriving before everyone else, but in arriving at your destination in one piece. And when you reconcile with your own path, you realize something valuable. You don't need to compete to win. You just need to be faithful to your path. If this lesson resonated with you, write in the comments, I choose to grow, not compete, because those who keep their eyes on what truly matters find peace, clarity, and the courage to move forward without rushing and getting lost. Lesson 2. When you let go of control, everything starts to flow. It's not the event itself that breaks us, but how we fight it. When we fight reality, we lose twice over. We suffer from the fact itself, and we also suffer from the resistance within our minds against that which cannot be changed. The Stoics spoke about this bluntly. They said, "If it is nature's will, then so be it." Today, many people say, "Thy will be done." The name matters little, be it God, fate, or nature. The essential thing is to understand. We don't have power over everything. Zeno of Citium, who founded Stoicism, used a very powerful image. He said, "We are like dogs tied to a cart." The dog may wander a little loosely, but when the cart starts moving, there are only two choices: resist and get hurt, or go along and move on in peace. So it is with life. The more we fight what happens, the more we hurt. The more we accept, the calmer we find. Seneca explained, "Fate guides those who accept and drags those who resist. To resist is to be dragged. To accept is to use the rope wisely and walk lightly." When something unexpected happens, pause and ask yourself, is this in my hands or not? If it is, act clearly. If not, accept it and focus your energy on what can truly change. Epictetus taught, "Don't want events to be as you imagine, but want them to be as they are, and then your life will be peaceful." Acceptance isn't giving up, it's liberation. It's stopping fighting what's beyond your reach and using your strength only on what can be transformed. When you learn to embrace the unexpected, you discover a powerful truth. Life doesn't have to obey your will to be good. It can already be lived in peace, exactly as it is. If this idea resonated with you, write in the comments, "Today, I choose to flow with life." Because when you decide to flow instead of resist, you realize that even the unexpected can become part of the journey. Peace doesn't come from controlling everything, but from walking lightly within what already exists. Lesson 3. Some lessons need to be lived before they are understood. How many times have you thought, "Why is this happening to me?" When something goes wrong, it's common to feel anger, sadness, or even want to give up. But the Stoics saw it differently. Difficulties aren't punishments, they're calls. Calls to show your inner strength. Seneca said, "No one is more unhappy than those who have never been tested, because only those who are tested discover the depth of their own resilience." Epictetus spoke even more bluntly. For him, challenges reveal a person's character. When life throws you a curveball, remember, it's as if God is simply training you with a younger partner, like a gym trainer. Becoming an Olympic athlete requires effort and sweat. This means that every obstacle is like a workout, tough, tiring, but designed to make you stronger. Sure, it would be simpler if life always followed the script of our dreams. But if everything were perfect, at the first stumble you would fall without knowing how to get up. It is in the realm of pain that resilience is born. It is in the weight of trials that character is shaped. So, the next time something doesn't go your way, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Maybe it's patience, courage, discipline, or humility. There is always a virtue hidden within difficulty. It's like iron being worked in the forge. The fire burns, but it is the fire that gives it shape and firmness. So too, today's struggles are the heat that prepares your strength for tomorrow. When you begin to see obstacles as opportunities for growth, you not only survive them but are transformed by them. It's in falling that you learn to rise stronger. It's in loss that you discover what truly matters. It's in pain that the sensitivity to understand the pain of others emerges. The scars you carry are not marks of weakness, but maps that tell the story of your victory. So don't fear the obstacles in your path. See them as a chance to become stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. Life doesn't present difficulties to destroy you. but to shape you. And when this truth is understood, each challenge ceases to be a burden and becomes the raw material for your transformation. Lesson 4. Like yourself more. Often it's not the world that brings us down, but the way we talk to ourselves. Have you ever noticed this? Sometimes no one says anything, but inside your head a voice starts screaming, "You're no good. You've failed again. No one cares about you." And suddenly the day feels heavy before it even begins. Cleanthes, one of the early Stoics, seeing a man taking offense, stopped and said, "Remember, you are not talking to a bad man. Treat yourself more kindly." This phrase isn't just a nice encouragement, it's a serious warning. A brake on the machine that crushes our self-esteem and that we often turn on without realizing. Endless self-criticism doesn't improve anything, it just stalls. You don't make fewer mistakes by insulting yourself more, you just become more tired, more insecure, and less willing to try again. There's a cycle. Every time something goes wrong, an accuser appears within you, ready to judge, while the part that should defend you remains silent. This becomes a habit. The brain learns that every failure is a crime, and every beginning can become shame. So you procrastinate, avoid conversations, and hide. It's not laziness, it's fear of being condemned by your own judgment. Stoic philosophy doesn't sugarcoat this process, it brings balance. Attention to notice when the mind begins to attack. Words to cut through automatic thinking. Action to rebuild trust with small, firm steps. Kindness begins with how we treat ourselves. It's accepting that we are human. It's not fooling ourselves or making excuses. It's knowing that you make mistakes, but you also grow. It's falling but getting up with greater clarity. Try this Stoic exercise. Instead of thinking, "Nobody likes me," say, "Maybe I don't please everyone, but I have people who care about me." Instead of repeating, "I messed up again," say, "I made a mistake, but I have a chance to fix it and improve." Can you see the difference? It's not about inventing a lie. It's about choosing a perspective that creates movement. Because when you change the conversation within yourself, you regain the energy to act instead of remaining stagnant. This is the key. If you don't treat yourself as a friend, you end up living as your own enemy. Seneca said, "Those who are friends with themselves are never alone." This isn't just beautiful, it's a matter of mental survival. Because true loneliness isn't being without people, it's not having support within yourself. Being your own friend is creating a shelter to fall back on when the world lets you down. It's having a voice that, when you fall, doesn't crush you, but reaches out, reminds you of your worth and says, "Get up. There's still time." Those who make peace with themselves don't live without pain, but they walk with company. And this company changes the way you make decisions. This simple exchange, from criticizing yourself to supporting yourself, can transform your routine into a space of trust. If you practice, you won't wake up enlightened, but you will wake up less armed against yourself, and that alone is a revolution. Because courage isn't born from beating yourself up, it's born from caring. When your inner voice stops dragging you down and starts supporting you, you try harder, make better mistakes, learn faster, and gradually regain your self-confidence. If this lesson resonated with you, write in the comments, "Today I choose to be my own best friend." This is a public commitment to a new way of living internally. When your inner home becomes more welcoming, the outside world stops seeming so harsh. The voice that speaks to you most is your own. So start treating yourself well. Lesson 5. Nothing is eternal. Everything is in motion. When anxiety grips or sadness seems hopeless, the mind plays tricks. It insists that it will always be this way, that the pain will never go away. This is one of the greatest poisons for the heart, believing that suffering is eternal. The Stoics remind us of a clear and liberating truth: nothing stays the same forever. Heraclitus said, "Everything changes, nothing is fixed." This thought works like a remedy against despair. Think of a storm. At its worst, it seems like it will never end. Lightning, thunder, strong winds, relentless rain. But no storm lasts forever. At some point, the clouds part and the sky shines again. The same is true of pain. While it's happening, it seems enormous, but its nature is fleeting. Today, do a Stoic exercise. Write down 3 difficult moments you've overcome. Ask yourself, how did I feel then? And how do I feel now, remembering it? You'll notice that everything passed, that the scars healed, and that even with the weight, you kept moving forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Present pain is not unbearable when we see it as it is, without magnifying it with imagination. And if you cannot bear it for long, remember that it will eventually end." If we know that everything changes, why give bad times the power to bring us down? No winter is eternal. Even the trees bloom again after the cold, and you too will find your spring. Keep this simple yet powerful phrase in mind. This too shall pass. It's like a silent anchor, reminding you that life is always in flux, that nothing lasts forever, and that even the darkest night is followed by dawn. Trust this flow. When you understand impermanence, you not only find the strength to weather the storm, but also the hope to wait for the sun to return. Pain passes, fears pass, even joys pass. But with each change, you transform, grow, and become stronger. If this lesson resonated with you, write in the comments, "This too shall pass," because every time someone reads these words, they remember they are not alone. And this memory ignites the certainty that even the most violent storms always give way to the sun. Lesson 6. Today you have the power to be reborn into life. Anne Frank wrote, "What has been done cannot be undone, but we can prevent it from happening again." This phrase carries a harsh but also liberating truth. We have no power to change the past, but we can choose how to act from now on. This is exactly what Stoicism teaches. Each morning is a new chance to begin again. How many times have you gone to bed with a heavy mind, worried about something you said, regretting a choice, replaying your mistakes and failures in your head? Anxiety and sadness feed on this cycle, as if each day were just a continuation of the last. But it doesn't have to be that way. Think of the river. It encounters rocks, logs, obstacles, but it doesn't stop. It doesn't look back, just keeps flowing, renewing itself every day. We can live like this too. With each dawn, we can decide to move forward without dragging the burdens of yesterday. Think about that fight you've been replaying in your mind for weeks, or that mistake from years ago that you still carry on your shoulders. None of this needs to occupy your now. The Stoics reminded us that the present can only be fully experienced when we are fully here, not when we leave part of us trapped in what has already passed and the other part anxious about what has yet to arrive. Try this Stoic exercise. When you wake up, before checking your phone or diving into worries, close your eyes for a minute and say to yourself, "Today I begin again. Today I have a new chance to act better." It doesn't have to be something big. It can be a simple gesture, finishing something unfinished, treating someone with more calm, taking care of yourself with more attention. In a month, there are 30 opportunities for renewal. In a year, more than 300 chances for a fresh start. Imagine the strength of living this way, seeing each day as a blank page. Marcus Aurelius said, "Every morning we are born anew. What we do today is what matters most." That's the key. It's not the weight of the past that determines your life, but what you do in the present. We often think, "I messed up, I can't break out of this cycle." But with each dawn, life proves that this isn't true. It gives you another chance. The choice is yours. Carry the chains of yesterday, or walk lighter today. Starting over each morning isn't about denying the pain, but about transforming it into fuel for growth. It's about looking in the mirror and asking, what can I do today that will make me proud when night falls? Courage isn't about never failing, but about getting up, renewing yourself, and continuing day after day. Lesson 7. Open your mind to see life from a new angle. How many times have you found yourself stuck on something small? A criticism, a delay, a problem that seemed bigger than it actually was. When we look at the world through narrow vision, every detail becomes gigantic. But when we change our perspective, it suddenly loses its power. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the ruler of the world's greatest empire, reminded himself in his meditations, compared to the immensity of the universe, even Rome seems small. He understood that compared to the history of humanity and the size of the cosmos, even the power of an emperor was almost nothing. This thought is liberating, because when we open our eyes, we realize that many of our worries are not new. Wars, crises, changes, all of these have happened before, and life has gone on. Likewise, our pains and anxieties don't mean the end of the world. They are just pieces of a larger story. Even the Bible reminds us, generations come and go, but the earth remains. What seems unbearable today in the long run may be just a breath. So, when you feel a problem consuming you, practice perspective. Imagine yourself looking down at Earth from above, seeing cities, countries, and billions of people living simultaneously. Now place your problem in this scenario. It still exists, but it no longer occupies the entire universe. This simple mental movement brings humility, clarity, and peace. When we adopt a broader perspective, we realize that many of the things we once valued so highly, status, comparisons, quick achievements, are not so essential. And details that previously went unnoticed, like a hug, a good conversation, or a sunrise, reveal their true value. Discovering a new perspective is rediscovering life. It's remembering that we are part of something much larger, and that our choices gain meaning when seen within that whole. When we change our perspective, it's not just the size of our problems that changes, it's also the magnitude of our own lives. Lesson 8. Don't ignore sadness. Today we live in a world where everyone seems to be always smiling on social media, as if life were perfect all the time. And when you feel sadness, anger, or disappointment, the thought quickly arises, there's something wrong with me. But the truth is, there's nothing wrong. What really hurts isn't feeling sadness, but pretending it doesn't exist. Whenever you try to sweep an emotion under the rug, it doesn't disappear. On the contrary, it comes back stronger, like trapped water bursting a dam. Stoicism doesn't teach us to deny feelings, but to deal with them wisely, to perceive, understand, and transform. Seneca said that no one is more fragile than those who never allow themselves to feel pain. This doesn't mean drowning in suffering, but accepting that sadness, rejection, and frustration are part of life. Without them, there is no growth, no true love, no truly worthwhile achievements. When sadness appears, don't hide it. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? It might be asking for rest, it might be telling me it's time to move away from something that hurts, or it might be signaling that a cycle has come to an end. When you name what you feel and listen carefully, you take away the emotion's power to control you. Don't fake happiness. Don't blame yourself for feeling it. Emotions aren't prisons, they're messages. The secret is to face what you feel with courage and remember, you are not sadness, you just experience it. Because when you stop fighting your feelings, you discover a silent strength to move forward, lighter, truer, and at peace. Lesson 9. Take care of yourself inside and out. Have you ever noticed how, when the mind is heavy, the body suffers too? Insomnia turns into fatigue, stress tightens the chest, anxiety manifests as back pain, a hard stomach, and shortness of breath. The opposite is also true. When the body is neglected, the mind becomes disorganized, lacking energy and clarity. Juvenal, back in the 1st century, summed it all up in a phrase that has crossed generations: a healthy mind in a healthy body. It wasn't just advice on exercise, but a reminder that body and mind go hand in hand. If the body gets sick, the mind loses strength. If the mind loses its strength, the body pays the price. The Stoics firmly reinforced this idea. Caring for the body and mind is not a luxury, it's a matter of survival. Because there's no point in training only the mind if the body is exhausted, and there's no point in having strong muscles if the mind is broken. It's in the balance between the two that the strength to face difficult days with courage and clarity emerges. Seneca reminded us that small gestures, like a walk, a deep breath, a few minutes of silence, are like medicine for the soul. Those who don't rest their bodies and nourish their minds will sooner or later end up feeling broken inside. So, set aside time each day to care for both together. It could be 10 minutes of stretching while listening to your own breathing. It could be a short walk outside without your phone. It could be reading a page of a good book before bed. These simple actions clear the mind and renew the body. And there's a powerful detail. When you move, your body releases serotonin and endorphins, hormones that provide almost immediate well-being. That's why often the urge to exercise only appears after you've already started. It's not about becoming an athlete, but about taking a small first step here and now. If you don't have much time, use 5 minutes. There are hundreds of free practices available: meditation, yoga, quick workouts, breathing exercises. What matters is deciding to start. Seneca wrote, "Let go of all obstacles and dedicate your time to achieving a healthy mind, because no one can achieve it if they are always busy." He reminds us that it's not about making time, but about choosing what is a priority. Caring for the body is caring for the mind. Caring for the mind is giving direction to the body. And when you unite the two, you discover a quiet power that dissolves anxiety and brings clarity to life. If this message resonated with you, make a commitment now. Write in the comments, "Today I choose to take care of myself completely," because peace begins within, and every small act of care is proof that you are already building that peace. Lesson 10. Learn to master your emotions. How many times have you turned something small into something huge just because you let your emotions get the better of you? A message that takes a long time to arrive feels like rejection. A waiter who doesn't look at you seems like you're invisible. A sale that doesn't happen feels like a personal failure. But the truth is, often none of this has anything to do with you. The person was busy, the waiter distracted, the store's system malfunctioned. What gave weight to the situation was the filter of emotion. The Stoics taught this. Facts are neutral. We are the ones who give them meaning. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, look at things as they really are without adding distorting judgments. Think of something simple. You see a cloud in the sky. It's just a cloud. But if the mind wants to, it can transform it into a sign of a storm, a bad omen, or a threat. This is what happens in life. The fact is neutral, but the imagination paints colors that don't exist. And if we pay attention, we do this every day. When someone passes by and doesn't greet you, it's just an absent gesture. But the racing mind invents stories. He's mad at me. I'm not important. Reality remains neutral. The weight was created within you. That's why the Stoics insisted on training in clarity, seeing reality as it is, without unnecessary labels. When we achieve this, the mind breathes more easily and the heart finds serenity. The next time something bothers you, describe it like a reporter. For example, don't say, "He ignored me." Say, "He didn't respond to my message." Don't say, "I'm a failure because I didn't sell anything." Say, "No sales came in today." This simple practice adjusts your emotional thermostat. You stop turning neutral situations into dramas and start seeing them for what they really are. Epictetus advised, take a step forward and put what you've learned into practice. This means using that objective perspective. Each time you choose to focus on the facts rather than judgment, you weaken anxiety and strengthen clarity. Remember, you can't control events, but you can control how you interpret them. When your interpretation changes, so does how you feel. In the end, the world doesn't weigh as much as it seems. The greatest weight comes from the stories we tell ourselves. If this lesson resonated, write in the comments, "Today, I master my emotions." When the mind finds clarity, the heart rests. And it is in this balance that true strength is born. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching.